le podcast.
Humain demain.
Hi there, this is Gator from The Flares. This podcast is usually in French, but we occasionally invite English-speaking guests. This is the case for this episode. Today we have the pleasure to talk with Felix Werth, founder of the Party for Health Research in Germany. Didier Cornel, Vice President of the French Transhumanist Association, will join me as a co-host. So Felix, my first question is, can you introduce yourself and what led you to start and found this party in Germany?
I'm 45 now. I was born in Berlin, and I studied electrical engineering basically first. So I have a master's degree in electrical engineering, and I also worked after the university in this field. And in 2012, so when I was 33, 34, I learned about that basically scientists are working on medicine against aging. And I thought that this is so important that I decided to help in this cause. Because the more people are working on this, I think, the better our chances that this medicine gets developed in our lifetimes. So I switched fields and I went to university again with 34, and I started to study biochemistry because I thought the best thing I could do was to help in the lab with the research. So I did my bachelor degree in biochemistry. But then I learned how slow the progress is in the lab and how little money is in this field. So I decided to concentrate on advocacy to grow this movement and to get more people excited about it and to get more people into it and more money into it. So at that time, I joined a lot of groups on social media about the subject, and there was one group, the Longevity Party, and I first thought it was like a birthday party, like just a longevity party. But then I learned, okay, they mean like a political party, and I thought would be really good to have such a party, and that it should be really successful, that people would vote for it and join it because that's like everybody would want to live much longer in good health. But because there wasn't one, I basically created one back then in Germany in 2015 in January. I created with 3 friends the German Party for Rejuvenation Research. Back then it was called the German Party for Health Research. So since then I work for the party and I do advocacy for life extension research.
How is the party organized at the moment?
So we have a federal association and 16 state associations. So in each state, we have an association with a board and so on. And basically now so since the creation of the party 2015, we already participated in 20 elections in Germany. So we are a regular political party that gets accepted in elections, and we can do election campaigns. Do everything that the big parties also do, hang up election posters, air commercials on TV and radio. So since we are one single issue party, so we only have, so our only demand is that the government puts 10% of its budget additionally into rejuvenation research. So all our election campaign is about that one issue, like more rejuvenation research, government-funded rejuvenation research.
Your organization decided to take a more radical point of view for longevity, and like you said already, to change the name. After a few months now, or maybe 1 year already, what are the pros and cons for you? What are the positive aspects of the change, the less positive aspects?
So basically, we changed our communication. So from the start on, it was all about more rejuvenation research. So we promoted, like we had in our program from the start, we had the repair approach, basically, that aging is basically caused by damage. And if you repair this damage, then we could biologically rejuvenate people. And the government should invest much more money into it. But up until last year, we focused our communication on the health part, so that this would prevent Alzheimer, cancer, the disease of old age, basically. Yeah, everybody thought it's like a good idea, but it didn't get so much attention because a lot of people already doing research in this field, and I think most people didn't get that we basically wanted or promoted this new approach, the rejuvenation approach, basically. And most people also didn't get that this would lead us to have a chance to live for hundreds or thousands of years, basically, if we periodically rejuvenate people. They all thought, oh, it's just about cancer research or so on and so on. So last year, basically, we did this strategy change with our communication. Basically, we renamed our party in the German Party for Biomedical Rejuvenation Research. So now this is much more clear, because before it was health research. A lot of people think of something different if they hear health research. They think, some of them also think it's about diet or exercise and so on. And now with the rejuvenation research, it's more clear. And also we point out now the emphasize the life extension part a lot. So on our posters, we say that with this medicine, people will have the chance to live for thousands of years by getting rejuvenated periodically. And this gets much more attention now, because it's to a lot of people it sounds maybe strange, or at least it sounds different. I mean, before that it sounded more like the other parties, because all parties are for basically more health research and curing cancer and diabetes. It's uncontroversial. So it was probably a little bit boring for a lot of people, or nothing new. But the new strategy, living for thousands of years, no other party says this in the election campaign so far. So it gets a lot more media attention now, and a lot more attention by the general public. We see that by the amount of social media posts prior to elections. For example, now so on October 8th, there's the next election in Hesse, the state election, and now there are a lot of so we hang up election posters again, and people take pictures of our posters, because they are so. They say basically, we can live for thousands of years. Where do you want to live in 800 years? Aging will be curable, and things like that. So a lot of people take pictures of them and share them on social media and talk about them. We didn't have that with our old strategy.
For a lot of people, seeing a poster like this feels like we are living in a science fiction future where we have political party talking about this kind of thing. So yeah, I guess, how has the party impacted the longevity movement in your country? Because do you do polls sometimes to know what's the general opinion on increasing a healthy lifespan in Germany? If people are in favor, or they're reluctant to the idea. And you mentioned that you're not really shy about using strong language, like living until 1,000 years, this kind of thing. Do you also use other type of language, like biological immortality, for example, which is sometimes when we mention immortality, people think we're talking about vampires or this kind of thing. So yeah, I guess the general question is, what's the general opinion in Germany about these kind of topics?
Okay, so we avoid the word immortality because right now immortality from our understanding is impossible, right? Because there's like the heat death of the universe or something like that. We really try to really be correct in our. So there's solid science behind it. So if you cure aging, then there's no limit anymore, right? But the probability that at some point we will still die is still very high. So we are not talking about never dying, just not dying of aging anymore. And so we did a poll on our website, and there a lot of people said that they wanted to live more than thousands of years, but that's probably just the people that go on our website and participate in the poll there. Most of the people don't want to live that long, or a lot of people at least. So prior to elections, each time we have to collect a lot of support signatures from people. So we basically talk to people on the streets all the time and tell them about this new chance and our movement and ask them to support us, and so I think I have a pretty good feeling what the general opinion is like about the opinion of the general public is, and a lot of people just say they just don't want this. They don't want to live longer. And they are afraid of problems like overpopulation and so on. And I think it's this problem of the denial of death. I think that once this medicine is available, that most people will take it. But now that it's not available, people just want to put it out of their minds. So I think that is the main problem. Because once you present them like solutions for overpopulation and so on, they don't really listen to the arguments. They just think, it's not a good idea, and put it out of their mind.
As far as I know, Felix, the biggest part of your work is done. The biggest part of the party, of the work of the party, is done by you, actually collecting signatures, making formalities, and so many things, and that's great. But what are you think your best allies at the moment, and what are your plans to involve more people? Well, of course, this is not an easy question.
So since a couple of years, I have great help, especially with collecting signatures. So there are other people who collect signatures alone or together with me. Yeah, but we are still very few. So and the idea to grow this is just to get more known. I mean, the people just have to come to the party by themselves. I think you cannot convince people that are not into this life extension thing. You cannot just convert somebody. I think it's either they are for it or they are against it. So I think our goal is to let as many people know about it as possible, and then the people who think it's important for them and want to help, they will come to us and join us. So our focus now is basically to participate in as many elections as possible and to do as much advocacy and outreach as we can to get more and more known. And then I'm very optimistic that more and more people will join us. Like this already happened in the past. I mean, all the people that are active now, they joined by themselves. I mean, I didn't ask them, or I didn't convince them. They just found us somehow. They heard of us. They saw our election posters or something, and then they came to us and asked how they can help. Because it's a lot of people that are interested in this. They don't actively do something to grow the movement. I mean, a lot of them, they try to live healthy, like with diet, exercise, and stuff, and sleep, and so on. But they don't. What they don't do is they don't try to hasten the development of this medicine, which we also need. I mean, because if you don't develop this medicine, it doesn't matter how healthy you live, we will still all 100% with 100% certainty die of aging, right? So it's and the more, I mean, maybe we. I mean, the thing is, if more people help, then we increase the chance that this will get developed in our own lifetimes. I mean, it's not if we don't grow the movement, or if you personally don't help with the advocacy part to grow the movement, then maybe it will happen in your lifetime, maybe it doesn't. But if you do help, if a lot of more people would help with this, we would increase our chance that this will happen. So it would be really important that a lot more people will join this movement, and also, do advocacy. And
spoke about collecting signatures, but I think I forgot to ask you. Can you explain why it is so necessary to collect signatures to go to elections?
So in Germany, all parties that are not yet in parliament, they, in order to participate, they have to collect support signatures from people. And the amount differs from state to state. And so, for example, next June, there will be the European election. And we need 4,000 support signatures in order to be accepted to the election and to be able to participate. So prior to each election, we have to collect those signatures, and that's a lot of work, because you have to approach people, total strangers on the street. You have to tell them about the movement, and you have to convince them that it's a good thing and that they support it, and that they have to give a lot of their data. They have to give their name, their address, their birth date, and a lot of people are hesitant to give out their data. So that's a difficulty in collecting the signatures. It's also a way to do advocacy, right? Because with collecting those signatures, you have a reason to approach people and tell them about this movement, because you need to do it, because you need to collect those signatures.
If someone is interested usually to by this topic and want to help, they usually go towards research, like scientific research, and trying to develop the right medicine, and not necessarily politics, which is an interesting avenue. So what can policy and achieve to help accelerate a post-aging world? What's the role of governments and politicians, and what you're trying to do?
So I try to get more people interested in this to grow the movement, because I think so also politicians will only invest more government money into this if more people demand it, because they want to get re-elected. They care about votes, right? So if they see that there are votes in this issue, then they would do it. But right now, it's hardly in the public discussion, and most people don't demand it actively, that there is more rejuvenation research. So politicians I guess don't see the necessity to do more than this field. And also, I think a lot of investors, maybe they or people that donate money, they want to invest in something that a lot of people think is important and that will basically put them in a good light. And if nobody is interested in life extension, then there will be a lot less donations, I think. So it's with the election campaigns, you can do so with a party. So we built basically the basic structure now to do very efficient advocacy for this. Within the election campaigns, I mean, election posters are very cheap, basically the material, and we do this all the work voluntarily, and commercials on TV and radio are for free for people for parties that participate in the election. And so we are on the ballot, so people see us on the ballot paper, and also the media reports prior to elections. They report about our party and our issue. And also there's the Valomat, that's an online voting compass where people can test which party fits best to them. And also there they see our basically party and movement. Yeah, so basically I try to grow the movement, to let more people know about this, that now we have the chance to develop this medicine in the near future. By letting more people know about this, I hope that more people will join and actively demand more research from the politicians. And also it's we with the party we give the people a very easy opportunity to support this cause just by a vote, because a vote doesn't cost any money and it costs very little time. So if they think it's important that that more life extension research is done by the government, and they can vote for us and show the other parties that they care about this issue.
If I may say, I think you explicitly asked for a part of the budget to be for medical research for longevity, maybe which part? And one other question is, did you already have answers or critiques or reactions from other political parties, or not yet?
So we demand that 10% of the government budget is invested additionally into rejuvenation research, especially the repair approach. I mean, other parties didn't approach us yet. I mean, through our participations in the elections, I mean, we are visible. So, I mean, we had the situations that in the election campaign, people from other parties came to us and said, hey, you have cool election posters, or we like your election posters. So they, of course, they see it, but I don't know yet how much influence this has in the big parties by doing something, because I think more, as I said, big parties care about votes, and I guess they will only do more about this if they see, okay, there are more votes.
Felix, some critics argue that the pursuit of life extension could exacerbate existing inequalities. Do you think about this kind of thing? How do your party plan to ensure that these benefits are distributed equally, equitably, I mean?
So I think this will come automatically, because society will benefit from it, because healthcare costs and will drop if everybody stays healthy or much healthier. So I think that this will guarantee that worldwide everybody will have access to these therapies.
Usually the trajectory of a technology is that it's expensive at the beginning and it becomes widely spread. And I think like medicine in particular, yes, it's of course, if you have more money, you can get better healthcare. But usually, in a lot of countries, there is no big discrimination. You can get treatment for most diseases. It's only the most cutting edge stuff, maybe gene therapy at the moment that's expensive or this kind of thing. So it's always been like a good worry to have, I think, but ultimately maybe not very realistic. And I think the population will probably, not really tolerate a class that live 1,000 years and everyone else still dies at 100. That won't be very good for the stability of the planet.
Yeah, only governments will be elected that will provide this for everybody. But I think the economic benefits are just the best argument that, if everybody stays healthy, and then all the society will benefit from it. And the production, as you said, will become much cheaper. So.
And Felix, what do you see as the future of the longevity movement and also of your party in, let's say, you can choose the next 5, 10 or 20 years? Well, of course, it depends first of the progress for the longevity medical science, but do you have other, let's say, do you see yourself still working on this in 10 years?
Yeah, that's right. So next year in June, there will be the next European election. And unlike the state and federal elections in Germany, there's no threshold. So in Germany, if in order to get into parliament, you have to have at least 5% of the votes. And so the best results that our party achieved so far are 0.5% of the votes in 3 of the state elections we participated in Berlin, in Thuringia, and in Saxony. And so we are far away from the 5% there. But in the European election next year, there is no threshold. And we would get a seat in the European Parliament with 0.5% of the votes. So this is not impossible. So if we manage to get more known by then, we have a chance to get a seat, or maybe also even 2 seats in the European Parliament. This would help us a great deal with advocacy, of course, because we could do lobbying directly the parties in the European Parliament and give talks or speeches in the European Parliament, and the media and the general public would be even more interested in this if we have a representative there in the European Parliament. And we would have a lot more resources also available to do advocacy. We could hire a couple of people that do advocacy full time and do a lot of like media things and on social media and stuff like that. So this would help a lot. For my part, I always say that I want to continue doing this work until I find something that is more impactful for the movement. So if I find something where I can help the movement better, then I will basically switch immediately. But so far, I think the best thing I personally can do is do advocacy and try to grow the movement. I mean, if I would work in the lab now, I think I would have much less impact.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I think there is a real need to make this issue known for everyone, and that it becomes almost as big as climate change, for example, which, obviously everyone doesn't like. We don't need to convince a lot of people these days that we need to do something to get rid of fossil fuel, but it's still very hard to convince people that aging is a big deal, even if everyone kind of accept that cancer and Alzheimer, it will be better off without it, but it's kind of the same coin. two faces of the same coin. Basically, if we cure aging, we cure most of the other diseases. And therefore, I guess, how do you see the future of healthcare in a world where people can potentially live 1,000 years? Do you think, first of all, how do you imagine the first treatment? Do you think we'll have like pills that we take every day, or is it more like one rejuvenation per year that reverse the clock, or something else? Or do you see this future?
I actually don't know really. I mean, I guess the first treatments will not work so well, because they are the first treatments. So maybe they are like senolytics or something that help us a little bit, or something like this thymus rejuvenation. That like parts of the body get rejuvenated. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a scientist, so I would for those predictions, I would want to point to scientists like Orbiter Gray.
Because at the moment, do you have like one avenue that seems to be more promising than others from what you have read or in longevity research? For example, epigenetic, we know with the Yamanaka factors and this kind of thing. David Sinclair is working on this kind of pathway. There is also metformin. I don't know if that's a study that's currently, I think there is a human clinical trial on metformin to see if there is an effect on aging. So maybe that's a good avenue as well.
Yeah, the TIM study is still not started. That's something that we are waiting since now already more than 5 years, but it is still not started. This is one of the mysteries of, let's say, the healthcare in the world. It's many people think that metformin is going to improve longevity. To test this with a clinical trial, it would cost about $50 million. It's a lot of money for us, but it's nothing for the budget of healthcare and or the budget of big drug companies. But they are not doing it at the moment, sadly. Felix, I had one other question. Concerning the impact of the COVID crisis. So first, the impact for the people in your organizations. Did you have more people active than before, or less, or the same? And then also the impact of the fact that there is at the moment a decrease in life expectancy for the first time since World War II, and that probably the life expectancy will rise again. But at the moment, we are still waiting for good signs. So, what are your comments about this in general? Well, there are some signs that life expectancy is rising again, but it's still certainly not as long as before 2019, and we are not sure it will rise again fast. Yeah, what are your comments about this?
So we didn't see a change with COVID in our party. I think so. We thought at the beginning of the pandemic that it might change something, but now looking back, I guess not much changed. I mean, during COVID, they reduced the number of signatures we had to collect for participating in elections. So that helped us a little bit, because we only had to collect like 20-25% of the amount of signatures that we normally have to collect. But also it was, of course, much more difficult to collect them during the pandemic. So I don't really know if that helped a lot. But I mean, we had an increase, but not an unusual high increase like during the pandemic or something. And with the increase of life extension, I really think that we need this rejuvenation medicine, and to really significantly increase our life expectancy in the future. That without the rejuvenation medicine, it will not go on like forever. Like it will not increase forever, because the body gets more and more frail, right? And at some point it just breaks down, and that's also like coming back to the previous question about which approach I think is more it's most promising. So I really think that a repair approach makes most sense, at least for me, because the aging is basically the accumulation of damage is caused by the normal metabolism, and so damage has to be removed in order to rejuvenate people. So I guess if you just do like the epigenetics or just do senolytics, I think it will not help that much. I think we have to really comprehensively implement the repair approach and do repair all the damage categories at once to see a significant health extension. Right? I mean, there might be exceptions, like with senolytics, where they had, like in the mice experiments, they showed that mice can live like about 20% longer if they get their senescent cells removed. I'm not sure. That might be an exception. That for really significant life extension, you really need to implement the repair approach comprehensively. And then that's probably also like a problem why there's not much more money in going into this field from investors and so on. Because if they just invest in a company that fixes one type of damage, then this product will probably will not help that much, because all the other damage also has to be repaired. They are also dependent that other people are working on the other types of damages.
Yeah, we need something that can do a really big rejuvenation at once, and not small little things, or like sometimes I hear, for example, someone like Brian Johnson, I think he takes 200 supplements every day, and he eats only one meal, like the same meal every day, which is very, very specifically designed for him. And I think that's obsessive almost, which isn't saying there is no utility, because I think it shows that, at least we can reverse the clock, because his apparently biological age is younger than his chronological age. But not everyone can follow his plan because he's a millionaire or something. So it's like a proof of concept, I guess. But let's say in the future we have very good life extension. This could have a profound implications for retirement, work, and education. So I guess, do you also think sometimes about how society will adapt the economy and everything like this if people live much longer? Or do you think this is too early to think about these topics? Because I guess it just depends how fast the transition will be. Sometimes I hear futurists that think it will take a decade before, from the point where we don't live until we live right the same as right now, and 10 years later everyone lives 1,000 years, or expected expectancy is 1,000 years. So society is suddenly very different. But so we might not be ready or something like that. But I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess the society changes all the time anyway. So even if we don't get this medicine, then with artificial intelligence and automatization, a lot would change. I mean, most of the jobs would get done by robots and AI, and so maybe we need a global basic income then or something. I don't know. People, I mean, I think all of society with new technologies will change a lot in the near future. No matter if we get this medicine or not. And I mean, if everybody stays or has the opportunity, I think most people will choose to stay young and healthy, indefinitely long, for an indefinite long time, until they die by an accident or so on. So, of course, this will also change society a lot, but it will change anyway. So it always astonishes me, like if I talk to people on the street and they say, "Oh, that's." A lot of people think that everything, will stay. It would be best that if everything would stay the same like it is now, forever. And but you just if you look at history, everything changes anyway. So you cannot really argue that like it should stay like it is now, and that's why we shouldn't implement this, or we shouldn't develop this medicine, because then there would be changes and the changes would be bad. And so and also the changes would come slowly, so maybe the anticipation would go really quickly, so that maybe even less than 10 years, that most people will think that they will live much longer, even if the medicine doesn't exist yet. So if like the top scientists will agree that will come, that this is happening, and then everybody talks about it, then I mean, this is one turning point that would really help the movement, right? Because then there would be much more money in it, and so on. It wouldn't change because people would still just get 1 year older per year. So we wouldn't have really old people, very, very soon. It would still take like 900 years to get 1,000-year-old people, So in those 900 years, a lot of technology will change.
But I think one big difference would be directly that less people would die, and so that life would be more precious. I don't know if you think the same. And maybe one more question is how can you encourage scientists to work for longevity, and also stakeholders, because at the end of the day, that's probably one of the most important goals, is to have scientists really working on longevity. One important aspect is money, and it is public money, and this is part of your work. But how to have more people, especially scientists and stakeholders, involved in this?
Yeah, basically make it more popular, I guess, and more people demanding it, because I think it's really hard to convince people to actively do something. I mean, so I think it's really hard. So if right now the situation that the movement is still kind of small. I mean, it's growing in the last years, but it's still kind of small. I think it's really difficult for the average to convince the average scientists now to work on this if they don't. I mean, they would have to have a stable job and a good income. I think most of them, and if they have this, I think they would work on this too. So I guess it's the same answer, that we have to grow the movement and more people excited about that, and then more people would invest in this, and more scientists would work on this, because there would be more money into it. And with the investing side, as I said, it's right now it's still very speculative. I mean, it's if you invest in this, I mean, I guess I'm really sure that it will be one of the biggest industries of the future, because everybody's aging and everybody will need this medicine. So if you invest now, it's a very risky investment. And as I said, if you just do part of the repair approach, then the medicine you develop might not actually do much, because it's dependent also on other repair medicines that are probably not developed yet.
So are you active, or what do you think about domains who are, let's say, related to longevity, but not only longevity? So cryonics, for example, do you have, cryonics is the first question. Do you have a contract? Do you have members of your party who have a contract? And are you speaking about that? Then there is the general question about transhumanism. Do you have an opinion about other ways to enhance ourselves? Maybe also if you have a last comment concerning artificial intelligence, but I think you were already approaching the question. Yes, some people think artificial intelligence, general artificial intelligence, could be really the way that we are making ourselves biologically immortal. Are you optimistic in this direction, or more afraid of risks related to artificial intelligence? So these are three different questions, actually. You can choose one if you prefer not to answer all.
Yeah, so I'm very interested in cryonics. Actually, that's the way I heard about this anti-aging medicine. So back in 2012, I was actually doing research about cryonics, because I wanted to get more involved there, because that really made sense for me. And that's when I came across this conference on YouTube, the Manhattan Beach Project, where they had talk about cryonics. But at this conference, there were also talks about life extension research. Aubrey de Grey presented there his repair approach, and Bill Andrews presented his telomere approach. That's where I came across anti-aging research for the first time. So I'm in Germany. I'm very involved in cryonics. I mean, I go to the meetings regularly in Germany. There are still very few cryonicists in Germany, but it's growing now, because there's also a new company that does a lot of promotion for cryonics, very good promotion. Tomorrow Biostasis in Berlin, where I live. Once most people think that this life extension, the rejuvenation, will come like soon and anticipated, I think cryonics will become very important, because from a psychological point of view, because the people right now, it's I think a lot of people think, okay, they are like 80 or 90 years old and they will die soon, but that's just the way it is. You know, everybody dies, so it's okay for them to die. It's just, if most people think that people will not die anymore of aging soon, then it's probably much harder for a lot of people who are not who are already like 80 or 90 years old and will miss this medicine like just by a couple of years. so it will probably be much harder for them to accept that they are the last people that have to die of aging, and probably a lot of those people think that this is unfair, and for those people, I think it's very important that we can offer cryonics, that they also have a chance to experience the future. And then I think that a lot more people also will do cryonics, because right now it's seen normal that people just live for 90 years and then die. But if most people think that it will soon be normal that nobody will die of aging anymore, then I think cryonics also will get much more accepted. Because the people that are still dying, then this is not normal, because normally you live indefinitely in the future. So it becomes unnormal to die early, or to be the last generation that dies of aging. And then I think cryonics will step in for a lot of people, and they will do cryonics. So we also promote cryonics on our party website. We basically just say that it exists and explain it, basically. But it's not part of our political demands or anything like that. We just promote it there. Yes.
I guess that was about what you think about like other transhumanist things, like human enhancement, cognitive enhancement, other things related to transhumanism and artificial intelligence. Is it a big topic for longevity as well?
There's probably a good chance that artificial intelligence will solve aging, that artificial intelligence will develop this medicine, or at least help us a great deal with developing the medicine. So, but what concerns me, or what I don't like, is that a lot of transhumanists or a lot of people, they really count on it, like that this will happen. But from my point of view, it's not sure. I mean, maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't happen. And if it doesn't happen, then we still need to develop the rejuvenation medicine by ourselves. So I think it would be wrong to just develop AI now and not try to hasten the development of rejuvenation medicine. Because I think also one danger is that at one point AI comes too dangerous, and we see that it could maybe lead to extinction of the human race. And then we somehow find a way to stop it entirely. I mean, right now, a lot of experts say you can stop it, but maybe if we are at the point that it's really going to, it's really likely that it's going to destroy humanity, then maybe we find a way to stop it. And then it will not develop the rejuvenation medicine, because we stopped all AI because it became too dangerous. So we still, then at that point, we still need to develop the rejuvenation medicine in the lab ourselves. So that's why I think it still increases our chance a lot to develop this medicine in our lifetime if we do our approach that we do right now with trying to grow the movement and do more research and not just wait for AI to do everything.
Yeah, I agree with what you are saying, that there are people who say, okay, it will happen anyway. And so, it is for me quite strange from some longevists. They don't always speak only about AI. They say, okay, we have progress, it is for sure. So logically, they should not be active for longevity, because if it is going to happen anyway. Sometimes I don't understand this point of view. But now coming back to AI and longevity, I also think really you are totally right. So there are hopes and there are risks. But do you have in the program of the party already kind of a point of view? So we should use AI first for longevity in an open way, for example, or something like that?
Our political demands are really simple. Just 10% of the government budget additionally into the rejuvenation research, basically, and 50% of that should be used to build more state research institutes that are working on the repair approach on rejuvenation medicine, and the other 50% should be used to enlarge the respective faculties at the universities and hire more professors and educate more scientists in this field. And also another thing I wanted to say about this existential risks like AI and other existential risks. I mean, of course, they are important too, but right now, aging will kill us in 100% certainty. I mean, if we don't develop medicine, rejuvenation medicine, we will all die of aging if we don't die of anything else. That's like 100% sure. And like if AI will kill us, that's not 100% sure. I mean, because there is this or like other things that people are working on. Because I often hear like, that's the other thing. It's like we have to work on that one because it might kill us, you know. Yeah, if you don't solve aging, we will die of aging. I mean, it's like a fact, and all the other existential risks, they are not 100%, you know, coming. But aging is 100%.
Aging is even not a risk. It's a certitude. Yeah.
Maybe the difference is aging will kill me, but existential risk is the end of humanity. So the whole future is closed.
Correct, you are.
But
correct.
the probability is low, but sometimes with low probability, high consequences, you have to redo the math because, well, at least shift a little bit of resources just to make sure those things don't happen.
But the people, you are of course right, but the people I talk to often do this for themselves. You know, they think they themselves will have the risk of dying of one of those existential risks. So, you know, some of them, they don't, of course, they also think about humanity, but they think also of themselves, you know. And if you want to increase your own chance to live in 200 years or so, then you should probably work on aging first. And once we have solved that, we should solve all the other existential risks. But of course, as society, we can work on more problems at the same time, and we should do that. I mean, I see that the AI problem is also very important, of course.
And so, though, maybe a last question, since we are arriving at the end of this conversation, what do you see as the most significant challenges and opportunities in the quest for life extension, and how can individuals, maybe our listener, can get involved in supporting your party's mission? Is there a call to action you'd like to give?
Okay, so I think the biggest problem is like the denial of death, that people in general don't want to think about it. They say that they don't want to live longer. I mean, I guess most of the people on the street that I talk to, random people, if you talk to them, they think that like cancer and Alzheimer is bad, but it's not. It's also bad that people would live like for hundreds of years. And I think it's not. I mean, I think that they wouldn't think that once the medicine exists, but they say that they think that now, that they think it's a bad idea to develop this medicine, that it would be bad for the everything, for the planet, for society, and even for themselves, that they would get bored or something, that they really don't want to live much longer than like 80 or 90 years old. And the reason is I think this denial of death, that they don't want to think about it, basically. And I think that is the biggest challenge that we have, or the biggest hurdle in growing this movement. We can just try to to get this more and more into the media, and so that the change probably will happen slowly, just by not giving up, just mentioning it again and again, and talking to people, and then maybe with time and with showing them that there's solid science behind it, and then there will be probably in the near future be more and more breakthroughs, and then I hope that by time it will slowly change, but it's not. I don't think that there's this one argument that you can use to break through this denial of death. I think it's a slow change, and everybody who understands this and who cares about it and who wants to increase his own chance to live much longer should help and try to spread this idea, and try to grow the movement and talk to other people about it, and don't be discouraged if people are not convinced about this idea at first. You just have to tell them again and again, and show them the science behind it again and again, and by time this, I hope it will change. Yeah. So my call to action would be, as I said, the party is just one opportunity to help. I mean, one way to help. I mean, you can join, use the political parties that we built in Germany, the structure, to do efficient advocacy. I mean, everybody worldwide can join our party. We are only active in Germany because we are a German party, and we can only participate in elections here in Germany. But it would also help if we would have single issue parties like that in other countries. And I would also be very happy to help with building such a party if someone from another country would want to do this, because then we could synergistically work together, and we could it would help a lot. As I mean, the media probably would also be much more interested if you could point out that those kinds of parties already exist in a lot of countries, and we could support each other with press releases and stuff like that. So it's and then also in other countries you could do this advocacy very efficiently with a party. Also if they are from another country and they don't want to build their own party, they could also come to Germany for a couple of days or so and help us to do advocacy here. I mean, there were already others in the past who helped us, who couldn't speak any German. You can perfectly do advocacy in Germany by talking in English to the people. It's almost everybody understands English. Of course, our party also always needs donations, money. For if we would have more money and more donations, we could basically hang up more election posters, buy more election posters, hang up more election posters, and do more advocacy. I think it's very the money that is spent by our party is spent very efficiently. I mean, with a small amount of money, you get a lot of advocacy, basically. You can reach a lot of people with a very small amount of money. Like if you like, for example, in the state election in Hesse that takes place next Sunday, we hang up like only 500 election posters because we didn't have much more money. So if we had like a couple of €1,000 more, we could have hang up like 5,000 election posters and so on. And then the impact would have been much higher, right? Even the 500 election posters got a lot of attention. We got like journalists who saw the posters and asked us for an interview, and people who joined our party because of the election posters, and a lot of social media posts that I mentioned already about the posters, where people just take pictures of the posters and post them on social media because they are so different from other election posters. You know, I think we miss a big opportunity there to do advocacy because we have so few resources. Our party has so few resources and so few people that help us. So if much more people would help, then we could also participate in even more elections. We could do more press releases. We could publish more things on online, you know, interviews or videos or things like that. And yeah, so I would ask everybody who cares about this to help and at least do some advocacy.
Thank you again for this conversation. That was very interesting to know more about this German party. Was very important for advocacy on life extension. And I will put every link in the description. And I invite everyone who is listening, you know, to participate and help.
Yeah,
thank you, Felix.